Afternoon, good evening, good morning. Chance is my name. I would like to welcome you to this special day, Monday, the 18th of July. We talk God, church, and politics. Listen to me. You know what? I'm getting to find that I think we need to invest in this, right? So at the end of this broadcast, I'm gonna ask for tithing. I'm gonna ask for tithing so we can buy equipment. Because if we were in church, we'll preach about tithe. Some people don't like it. But you know what? I'm excited. This is the excitement I always have when I come live to talk God, church, and politics. This is the show that's still making it. Okay. Ups and downs, grinds. But this is it. I mean, we're going to have to plow through to be what we're meant to be, slowly polishing ourselves up to become what we think we can become, and building and believing that God is going to help us to be a thing. Media is a platform by which we broadcast God, church, and politics. And probably some of you are joining me from my Facebook page, Chance Mentali. Some of you are joined online via This Is PC YouTube channel. Can I urge, for those of you that like to watch from Facebook, can we get more professional to get to watch it via YouTube? I guarantee you that you will have much clearer voice picture on YouTube than Facebook. I don't know whether I'm thrashing down Facebook, but I gotta do this. I've got a friend of mine. In fact, let me just shout out, and I hope he's logged in and joined me right now. Lugano is doctor, by the way, Dr. Lugano Ndovi. I really would like you to give me a thumbs up if you joined up. He is in Namibia. Believe it or not, this good friend of mine, I went to school with him, and he's followed me, and he says, man, I'll be on it. I'll be on it. Dr. Lugano Ndovi from Karonga, by the way. I'm not, what is the word that they use, for somebody who's trying to be just about, I'm not tribalistic. I'm not, I just love the guy. We went to the school together. He is now a graduate, a doctor in real life. Okay. Medicino, a doctor in Namibia, watching me now, coming to you live. Listen, I'm excited. I've got the guys at the background. But before I can bring them in one by one, I'd like you to do me a favor like we do all the time. Tell somebody else, PC is live. Guys, if we're going to interact for some reason, like I said, probably we need to invest to buy new equipment to be able, to be able to interact and to be able to be free to project, comments. Oh, yeah, there we go. Luano, I'm excited just to see that. Hi, my brother. It is exciting. It's good to see you, that you're logged on. And Luano is actually watching me on YouTube. So YouTube, if you're asking what the page, this is PC. That's it. You got to see PC online on YouTube. Let's like this so at least it gets more views so we can make this professional. But greetings, Dr. Luano. It's good to have you, man. Come on, I'm not just saying this because I'm flattered about you or because we come from the same country or same district. No, literally, it's an honor to have you join, from Namibia. Because sometimes people think when I say this is depending on the side of the world where you are, it could be morning, it could be evening. People think I'm just bluffing about it. But to have Dr. Luano join us all the way from Namibia, it's an honor. And guess who's watching me again? My son, Josh Montali. Yeah, okay, fine. Let me shout out to my son. I mean, he normally doesn't come live with me, but when he joins in, I gotta do it. I gotta do it so he knows. Actually, I'm trying to pass on the baton to him, but he's too, he jumps up too much. But hey, greetings, everyone. I want you to make some noise in the comments. We will be discussing the issues affecting Malawi. Currently, the talk of the town, the hottest current in town. What is it that we can talk about? I tell you what, there's so much to dissect or to dive into. Okay, got the people with me. And first of all, let me welcome my brother and friend who we are freedom fighters. But this man is going higher than me. He is the chair of Malawi Congress Party Diaspora Network. And so we've got the big man in the house. Because we want your questions to the big man. So here it is. Chalom Vula. Soon, Chalo, you know what? I'm hoping soon I'll be calling you Dr. Chalom Vula. Yeah.
Thank you.
I really don't care whether people are going to smash me on this, but I don't care without even you going. I know you are you are into school, I know, but I will be calling because, the stuff that you have done, I believe that, an honorary degree we can give at least. Hey, Chalo, it's good to have you, man.
Thanks very much. It's good to be on this show again.
Your side of UK boiling like mine?
It's proper boiling. I'm sweating right now.
I'm thinking, I'm sweating. I wanted to put on a coat or a jacket to show like a bit of a bit professional coming on like you've done. But I said to myself, I'll be lying to myself. I'll be deceiving. And I know you, Charles, thank you for coming in your suit. But it's boiling, isn't it?
It is. I think it's about 36 degrees Celsius. But yeah, you know what? It's boiling on the UK level. But for people that are in Malawi, I mean, it's not that much strange to the way the weather is in Malawi, isn't it?
It's of course. But you know what? Over here, this is one of the things we get to talk about when the weather, when the sun hits us too hard, we get to talk about this. When it's raining, when it should be quiet, we talk about it. When it's cold and freezing, as if we're new to the temperatures, but we talk about it. UK loves to talk about the weather. So hey, join in.
That's it. Yeah, good, but thanks very much for having me on the show.
Beautiful. Listen, it's good to have you. I'm actually waiting for. Oh, there we go. We got the bishop in the house. I was about to say I'm actually waiting for the bishop and my good friend Kondi. So today it's a bit, people are going to talk like I'll be. What's the word they use? Like not biased. What is the word they're using now when you bring people from your hometown or your region? What is nepotism they call it? So people are going to say I'm nepotistic. I don't know, but here we go. We got Bishop Shanks. Greetings, the big man from Dublin, Ireland. Welcome.
Is that a question? You are nepotistic.
No. Now let's do it professionally. Good evening, Bishop Shanks.
Good evening. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
I know you always start with a fight, and for people that do not know you and me, they would think we're really fighting.
I know. I know, they don't know where we are coming from.
They don't know where we come from. And in fact, let me tell the people, when you see me and Shank and Bishop Shanks on Facebook going, you know, like when people type MXII, more like somebody is actually swearing. Please don't be offended. That's how we talk to each other, and we're good about it. You know, this is my friend right here.
They don't even know that we stayed together for a good while.
A good while. A good while. So it's not a fight. You and me will never fight. If we fight, it's for the good cause. The only fight we always have is the fact that you love Chidima. Anyway, let's not go there for now. Let's get into the you know what? I was hoping that Mr. Kondwani is going to be here by now, but you know, I think it's his first time probably to come live with somebody else. Because I remember last time he goes, "What do I do?" I said to him, "I'm going to send you a link. You're going to join in." But we don't have him. But as we make everybody coming in, you know, people are coming in right now. Before we do that, let me just shout out to the people that I really value and honor. You know, this is our people, our viewers. If you're out there, please say something. So I've got this friend of mine, Christian. Christian has never missed my show. If I was giving out, in fact, and that's I've said, Bishop Shanks, I've said that at the end of the show, I'm going to take an offering. Okay, I'm going to take an offering and I'm going to ask people to tithe. Okay, that's a different topic for another day, because I want us to buy equipment that we can be able to do something, you know, so my network is really good so that we don't miss a thing, you know. But what I wanted to say is, if I was to buy a cup and give to somebody else, Christian Wedege is the man to give to. So Christian, good evening. I don't know whether it's good morning. You are thinking, is it Sweden or Norway? But the guy joins in every now and again. So we're going to talk about several things today, but what I wanted to say is that meanwhile, West probably will wait a little bit for the man himself, you know, my friend Kondwani to come on. I would love you guys to share and talk to somebody else and invite them. Please say something to somebody. If you're on and joined in, surely Josh, Dr. Luano, Christian, you guys have got some friends. Call them out in the comments, and we'll be back in a second. If you can see me, this is your host, Chance, of this program. And tonight I am honored to welcome to this platform my good friends in Chalo Mvula and the Bishop from Ireland, the Bishop of Living Waters Island. Yeah, I mean, in Ireland, this is the only man, the big man in town, right? Who also happens, by the way, let's put the record straight. The reason why I bring you on and on, people probably don't understand this. Who also happens to be I think the publicity secretary, or you may correct me, right? Of United Transformation Movement.
Nah.
Okay, so say your position, but I know you have a position. Is it the chair, the GS?
No, I'm not the chairman. I'm not the publicity secretary. I'm just a member who happens to make a lot of noise.
No, let's expose this one, Mr. Chalo. You're gonna come in, but I know at some point I read somewhere where you had a position. What happened? Did you come down?
No, honestly, I've never had a position, but I'm an active participant, but I don't have a position.
Participant, right?
Yes.
Somebody who is purely UTM.
Of course, without any.
Perfect. That's what I wanted people to know, that we have a contrast right here. We have the man fully MCP in Chalomvula, and we have the man fully UTM in our bishop, and there's nothing wrong. Let me educate the people a little bit.
Someone has the president one.
and of course I see Chalo in his ties. Akusadira President Wajanaev. Okay. The truth is, we're gonna have a thorough discussion, and guys, I really want your honesty. I really wanted to bring you two because we are passionate about what we believe in, or the leaders we have in our parties. Also, at the same time, you two are working together as Tonse government, right? So I stand on the neutral ground, right? I support the government. I support the government in place. So I am not taking sides. I'm going to give you questions, right? I'm going to give you questions related to what is on the plate. But let's kickstart. Let's kickstart. Malawi has been going through a lot of stuff. I must say to the people, okay, for those of you that are just, okay, one second, before we move on, I was saying we're going to do shout outs. I'll do this as we go around. Sangwani Mabaso, this is my young man. We meet on different platforms, and one of it is Media East, but is very effective and part of the Ntambi Arts. And by the way, I'm one of the directors of Ntambi Arts, and this young man is very effective. Sangwani, good to have you, and yeah, keep calling them. Let them come on. Let them come on. Greetings, right? So here we go. Malawi is going through a lot of stuff, and we know it from the news on the ground. Surely, Mr. Mvula, you're well connected of what is happening on the ground. Bishop Shanks, you're well connected of what is happening on the ground. There's been stuff about corruption, which has been going on in the news, and we've kind of like followed it up, reactions and actions. And today, in fact, I'll be measuring much on the reports that have come out. I'll be measuring on the actions and reactions that have happened, and also your views as individuals who are, listen to this, who are fighting for a free, corrupt-free Malawi, who are pushing for Malawi to be an item we think it should be. You know, it's been, in the past, Malawi has been denied of the effectiveness because of corrupt institutions and people leading institutions. And we believe now the Tonse government is bringing in a corrupt-free Malawi, isn't it? If I may kickstart this, I'm good to say it like that, Mr. Mvula, right? That we are, our passion is to have a corrupt-free Malawi. Just a minute.
Yeah. You're right, Pastor Chance. And to be honest, that's why sometimes I enjoy to be on this platform, because even though we come from a partisan background, most of the guests that comes here, we try to have sober discussion. We try to have discussion that puts Malawi first. And for that reason, that's why I find this platform to be very, very important to Malawians. So yeah, we are all together to fight corruption.
One of the things I should appreciate is your availability. You will never let me down. I must be honest. And also Bishop Shanks. And this is why you guys are always my favorite on this one. I mean, you don't take long for me to confirm to come on. Let's talk about this. One of the things I believe in, let me talk to the people a little bit. One of the things I believe in, what PC believes in, is the fact that, you know, we cannot just change it, we cannot just change it with, just standing aloof. We gotta have to brainstorm. And I'm praying that we will, you might say, are these influential people? In my capacity, in my understanding, they are. You know, the diaspora always has a part to play in a nation. There's a clip that has been flying about where somebody's talking about the diaspora is an asset. If you don't see yourself as an asset, or put it this way, like an Esther that God brings in to serve your people, and it might be in different ways. We're not talking about you sending money. We're talking about where you become an advocate of real change that must take place. Then we're missing out. But the truth of the matter is that God has brought us this far, or brought us to this other side of the world. We could be effective with information, be clear of what and how a government ought to be run. Put it this way. Just, I think, 2 weeks ago, Boris Johnson of the United Kingdom stepped down from being a prime minister. You know why? Because of issues surrounding his governance. And there is such kind of transparency in this nation, United Kingdom, where if you mess up, you are forced to step down. Can Africa adopt to such? And I guarantee you that without the diaspora having a say on the stuff that's going on in our nations, we will not have such. And this is why let us be relentless in being able to discuss these things. If we have, I'm praying to God, we will have the people that are in government so we can question them on this platform. I do believe with all my heart that we are capable and we have the ability to be able to question those people, to give us real answers. Because we can't be saying we are supportive of the government or we are fighting corruption together with the government, then we stand aloof. It's not on. That's me, and that's my take. This is why I'll keep doing God, church, and politics. By the way, I can also preach the gospel real good. Yeah. But this is not time to preach. This is time. Let's brainstorm, find real answers, and put pressure where pressure needs to go. Hence, I would like to welcome you once again. Let me welcome my people again. Bishop Shanks, the story, you know, of what we are passionate about. And I know, listen to this, guys. When we talk, sometimes I know we are, you know, we laugh about this, but let's be honest. We're passionate about our nation. Tukufuna Malawi asinte. That's the truth about it. You know, I mean, in your own words, in the stuff that's happening, do you think we're going somewhere? Would you say?
Well, I would say something which would make my friend Charlo very happy. You know.
The one thing I've also noticed is that every time you pinch Charlo too much. Charlo, please feel free to pinch him when you have to. Okay, go ahead.
But honestly speaking, last time he talked about the reason why there's a lot of corruption exposure. It is because this current government is doing whatever it takes to make sure that these things are exposed. We never used to have this before during the DPP government, but it looks like now these things are coming up, and it looks like this government is more corrupt than the previous one. But the truth of the matter is, it is because this government is exposing a lot of corrupt practices that are going on out there. The only issue that I have is ACB at this point in time. I don't think I have full trust, more especially when it comes to how they are handling these cases. It's like there's some kind of, what's the word that I can use? It's like they pick and choose who to nail and who not to nail. Some people have, you know, there is evidence out there, you know, and they would rush to go get somebody like, for example, Kezi, you know. But if you look at the issue of Umkak, evidence is there. But ACB produces a statement today, and they say that, oh, we need to authenticate whatever is being shared on social media and all that. So it's like there is selective justice. It's like you choose who to nail and who not to nail. So in my opinion, I think that's the only drawback when it comes to how ACB is working. And I also feel like as much as there is exposure in terms of corrupt practices, our government also lacks political will to some extent, because most of the cases, somebody is gotten today, they go to court, and before you know it, the next day they have gotten bail, and you don't hear about the story again. It's like it's over, it's gone. So it's like there's no proper follow-up to all these cases. So that's the only thing that I'm looking at, and it's letting us down.
In fact, you've just mentioned something that I really wanted also to say, Charlo. What is going on in terms of somebody gets arrested today or gets nicked by the SCB, and all of a sudden there's a bail application for that person? I mean, good example was Dausi, nicked by SCB. We heard about it. The next thing is that, you know, there's a bail that they applied. The next thing, in an hour, bail granted. Let's be honest. We are. What is the word? We've got Tirindi. I'm trying to bring this to the understanding. We've got people who are trying to sabotage what is a good thing here. I mean, Bishop Shanks speaks about we're going to come to SCB not being effective. In my view, I think she's trying. I mean, guys, let's be honest. I mean, if when these guys have to come up against each other, DPP, which is the Director of Public Prosecution, and the SCB herself, sometimes they're at loggerheads. And yet she has to still find her way through this to still arrest some. She manages to do, but then the bail grants are just within seconds. People are out. Charlo, are we? Is there a team within us that's sabotaging what we ought to be doing?
I think saying that there's somebody sabotaging at this moment, it will just be a speculation. But what we
Okay.
have to understand is that these are legal matters. I'm not very much well conversant with the legal matters, but what I understand is that when somebody is arrested, they need to be taken to court and then they can apply for bail. There's no point that they can just be kept in remand without being charged. That might be affecting their human rights. But I think the question that we should be asking is, why are these cases taking longer? I would give an example of a case of Chris Chaimabanda, Chihana, and Onabo Kambala, which started almost last year, but is still dragging on and on and on. So the issue there is, if we are really serious about fighting corruption, of which we are, but then if this is the speed that we're going to be doing our things, how are we going to complete all the cases? That's the area that I get worried with. So it's not about somebody getting bail. I think everybody else has got a right to get bail. If the prosecution have got enough evidence, I think we wouldn't worry about somebody getting bail, because at the end of the day, they're going to get their day when they're going to be in court, and evidence will be produced, and if they are found to be guilty, they'll be sentenced. But then if the cases are not going anywhere, if the cases are taking 2-3 years to complete, and yet we are being told that there are thousands of cases starting from the time DPP was in government. And, that's the other worrying thing as well, because many people have been complaining. I'll go back to what Pastor Shanks said, and I'll repeat this again. We are talking about corruption quite a lot now, because this has been one of our main focus. The super high five of President Chakwera is about ending corruption, and he has been focused on that. He has highlighted the issues of corruption to all Malawians, and now everybody else is talking about corruption. This is something that the DPP government tried to make Malawians not talk about. They were denying the existence of corruption, but the Tonse government has worked in making sure that people know that there's corruption activities, and now we are seeing more and more exposures of corruption activities. Yes, there's another argument which says, oh, these exposures are coming from cadets in government that are still in government. But then what do Malawians want? Do they want people not to be exposing corruption activities? I think if there are cadets in the government that are exposing corruption activities, that is a good thing for Malawi. But I think what we need to be looking at is, we need to move forward. Tonse government has done really, really well. President Chakwera has done really, really well. And he's at the forefront of the fight against corruption, no matter what people are talking about. But if we look at it and compare with what was happening in the past, I strongly believe Malawi is in the right direction.
I mean, that's for sure. The two of you agree on that fact, in the sense that there is some kind of progress in the sense of how we deal with issues today, or what we, how much we have information, access to information. I mean, under the old regime, or the past regimes, this would be concealed underground, and especially if let's be honest, if it was Dawusi involved in some cases, nobody would want to touch. They were untouchables. But today we have where even the VP, which we're going to come to that, is mentioned in the case and told not to operate, because this is what this government is all about. Anyway, let me just acknowledge a few things here. If you're going to suggest, let me just say to my people here, for those of you that are watching us be it from my profile page or YouTube or Media Ease, if you're going to suggest, please don't just rant to yourself. I want you to give me a point that we can showcase. If it's a question, pull it out so I can actually pull it out, because some of these I may not really show. If you are cursing someone, I'm not going to show it, because I'm not entitled to. I want you. Why are you cursing? Why are you cursing? I mean, you're just not going to curse. I want to believe, apart from us being Christians, we've got a sober mind to be able to compose ourselves. As much as some of us are angry with what's happening on the ground, but we can put it in words. That's why we're here. So don't just curse, but say something that we can project. That if it's a question, or if it's a point that I can project for somebody to look at it, for my panelists to be able to say, okay, from what this person is saying, ABC. Don't just curse. Don't just curse, please. And I know we're frustrated. Everybody's frustrated with whatever is happening on the ground. But we can be composed to be able to give a direction where we have to give direction. Or we can talk and brainstorm rather than just being, people that are just cursing all this and all that. Say something That's going to be beneficial. All right, back to the story. So the report has been said, said out. Part of the team that's been there. We've seen the IG, Inspector General of Police, shut down or put down so that he doesn't operate. We've seen the Vice President VP to be told he will not be delegated to do something from the presidential side. We've seen quite a few profiles in the government of Tonse. Are we convinced that this is the right direction? Now, Chalo, you can kickstart this because I know we've got time.
Can I add something on the first point? Just 2 points, for 30 seconds. I wanted to say that, number one, justice has to be fair and not political.
Right. Okay.
It's very important for justice to be fair, and no one is proven guilty until the court of law does so.
Right.
So when it comes to bail, everyone is entitled to that. The only issue that I have is it's not enough exposing corruption, but following through the cases and making sure the cases are concluded. And I know that this is not on the president's head. There has to be, apart from the president, there has to be collective effort from the SCB, the Attorney General, the DPP. They have to work together and ensure that these cases have been concluded. And the government, I just read somewhere some couple of days ago, I think the government has given about 400 million kwacha to SCB, to specifically look into some of these cases that they're looking into. So all I'm saying is somebody getting bail is not a problem, but we need these cases to be concluded.
And this is the same, Bishop Shanks, yes. I think that's the same frustration. If you look at my sister here, my sister, what's her name? VB. I mean, I don't know her full name, but she's gone by VB. She says, if bail is the outcome of all cases from SCB, why do we even have that institution? Exactly. It's just a mockery and not a way of combating corruption. We should find another means of doing it. What, Chalo, if you were to advise SCB, what is the other way? I mean, what can she do in this case? The frustration, of course, all of us feel it, but probably she feels it too.
Yeah, and I think the most interesting thing in all of this is the very fact that it shows that a lot of Malawians, most Malawians, have had enough now. I think the level of corruption in every part of the government institutions, it's not only in government, even in private sectors, but let's focus on government at this time. Malawians are fed up. It's enough. Lots of government money is being wasted. People are stealing money, and everyone else wants a solution. So you can see that the pressure now is going to SCB. The expectations are there. Why is the expectation there? And first of all, it's the campaign promises that us Tonse Alliance told Malawians that we'll fight corruption. We made quite a lot of promises on this matter.
There was noise about this.
And secondly, the very fact that Martha Chizuma was employed as SCB director. And really, a lot of Malawians had expectations that Martha is going to deliver. But then what is happening now is that the frustration, as most people are saying, is the very same kind of thing. That why are the cases? You just arrest somebody today, they are out. The cases doesn't seem to be like going anywhere. So I think that's an area whereby we feel like Malawians are feeling like we're just moving around the same circle. Nothing really concrete is happening. But I know our president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, is so much willing. Bishop Shanks has talked about funding for SCB, which has been provided. I know even other governments, the British government has given some, vehicles and stuff like that to SCB government. So the will is there that SCB should act, should function as an organization. But then we have to try to understand why all these delays happening. We can go back to the audio that was released by Martha, when she was recorded. She talked about the frustration that she meets with within the system. People, when she takes the case to the judiciary, how they delay things and stuff like that. So we might choose to pinpoint somebody and point fingers at somebody. But then I think the whole Malawi needs a complete reset of our systems, of our government systems, the mindset change of Malawians. And I think it's a fight that we cannot just win within a very short period of time. It's something that should be ongoing, but I can assure you that the work has started, and I think Tonse government has done really, really well. And there's quite a lot of promising things that are about to happen.
And the praise, as much as we can do, guys, still lies, I think where we end, our ceiling is at frustration. It's not speedy as much as we know they're doing something good. We know this government has given us the leeway where we're able to talk about these things and we're able to push in our thoughts.
But another thing, if I can jump in, I think let's also not forget that I think over the past few weeks, there's an element of this whole thing being politicized. You know, I think once SCB has started biting, I think Malawians were letting each other down by the very fact of our allegiance to some political leaders. So what is happening is, if I support Pastor Chance because I support you, and then if ACB comes for you, I happen to be saying ACB is doing selective justice, or maybe, you know, is targeting some people. I think as Malawians as well, we have to accept that there are people that we love, that we supported in the political system, that are going to be mentioned, that are going to be arrested for being involved in corrupt activities. But if we're going to be the very first people to be defending them on social media, then we are also contributing to the whole thing of corruption not to be fought.
And this is where also I wanted you guys to be. I like that aspect, Charlie, because the reality is, I've seen that when the vice president, which I want to come now to the bishop, when the vice president was mentioned in this, there seems to be there is such rage from the UTM members who then wants to just tear apart the Tonse government because it's not working with MCP are just pulling to their side. Why? Because their main man has been mentioned in the report. Let's be honest, and I want you to come as clean as you can, Bishop. I mean, what is your say, number one, in this? Number two, if your leader is proven, like you're saying, I know the statements of saying nobody's proven guilty until, fine, we get that. But if your leader has been mentioned in such a high-profile case, UK does not joke like Malawi does. Probably, if I was to put it, if I was to compare the justices of the two or the systems of two, UK is higher in terms of its advancement to be able, they wouldn't just want to mention a name until they really are certain that these things have been found to be true. So this system of National Crimes Bureau, is it NCB, whatever, or NCA, they found that our vice president is implicated in the stories. It may not, the courts have not probably proven it or whatever, but if you find out that it is true as a leader yourself, what do you have to say, Bishop Shanks?
In the first place, we need to check the authenticity of that report. Was it really
the authenticity?
Was it
is
really
National Crimes Bureau?
Hold on. Was it really produced by NCA? I saw that document on PIJ page.
And this is what Bishop,
no, hold on first. Wait, let me explain. Watch the code. Let me explain.
Right. Listen. Before you continue, wait.
Responding, you think I want to defend, but if you were, you will see where I'm going with this.
I know.
Basically, what I'm saying is, I stand for the truth.
Right.
As a pastor, as a church leader, truth is what I stand on. And at the same time, I do believe that the courts have been given the authority to determine whether one is guilty or not.
Right.
And that is based on the evidence that one produces when they get to the court of law. Now, in this particular case, working on assumptions is not good, because the court is not a house of hearsays. It is a house of evidence. One has to produce evidence to prove beyond any reasonable doubt that this particular individual was involved in such a case, and therefore he was found guilty at the end of it all. Now, in the case of the VP, there is absolutely no evidence that has been produced. And I will go back to the statement that
but wait, before you continue, there is evidence because IG has been fired for this. Bishop, let's not beat about the bush. The Inspector General of the whole Malawi has been put aside because this is true evidence.
Okay, Pastor Chance. Let me finish, then you will understand what I'm saying.
Go ahead. No, I was just correcting your statements.
There is no evidence. I still stand with my statement. There is no evidence. Now, I will go back to explain to you why I'm saying there is no evidence. His name was mentioned. Does the report tell us what his involvement was? If you talk about the IG, the report tells us how the IG was involved. Priest Kapondangag, the report doesn't tell us how Priest was involved. The PPD, is it PPDA or whatever, boss, there is no evidence. The president actually said the vice president, the chief of staff, and the PPA, there is absolutely no evidence. SCB did not provide in the report how these guys were involved. Somebody's name being mentioned doesn't mean anything.
Really?
And it doesn't mean anything. I mean, I can mention your name and say, I went to do this and that with Chance.
Right. Before you continue, Bishop, because wait. I'm going to give you the time. Charlo will have to leave us in the next 10 minutes. Charlo, I really want you to come in clean on this. So yeah,
but just now you're stopping me.
No. You're going to come in. You'll have your time, and I'll give it. Charlo. So according to Bishop, there is no evidence to why we should sack the IG in Kapondangag.
No. The IG, there is evidence, but the other three, there's no evidence.
Really?
Yes.
Wait. Now you've said your part. Charlo, do you agree to this?
I'm not going to agree to that. Not necessarily that his statement is wrong.
No. Okay, go ahead, Charlo.
Not that necessarily that his statement is wrong, but I feel time has come that as Malawi, we have to make it standard that if somebody is mentioned somewhere that they are involved in something, at least they should pave way for the full investigations to take place. So even if they can say that they've not been pointed what he did, but the very fact that NCA, National Crime Agency, is mentioning his name, I think that alone, contributes to the fact that he needs to step aside and let full investigation take place. Unlike maybe what is going on, like the main issue that is going on today, of which most people are talking about the MCP Secretary General or Honorable Nkaka and the issue about his Mercedes.
There's evidence there.
The thing is, I think there's quite a lot of elements of political influence that are involved because the thing is, yes, there's things flying around on social media that, there's this sort of evidence and stuff like that. But then unless it's presented to SCB, of which SCB have made a statement, which most Malawians have said maybe it's not a very convincing statement.
Very biased statement.
But I feel looking at what has been presented so far, it might be too early maybe to ask that maybe Honorable Nkaka should step aside. But I know that investigations are still ongoing unless it's being proved, because this is what we need to look at. Remember when President Chakwera said there's quite a lot of situations whereby a lot of people have benefited from what we would call corruption, unknowingly receiving gifts and stuff like that. Maybe I think this also should be a lesson to government officials that maybe receiving gifts that maybe you cannot account for, or you can account for, but then you cannot explain why somebody is giving you a gift is not the right approach to act when you're in government, because everyone else is going to construe that as corruption. However,
let's not rush to Nkaka, and Nkaka is, for me, is a small fish.
Yeah, but Chance, just give me 30 seconds because I want to say something.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead.
The issue that we are discussing here is about evidence.
Right.
Charlo is talking about paving way. That's a different case. I didn't say he shouldn't pave way. We are talking about evidence. Is there evidence?
Do you then agree? Do you then agree that it is important for in his capacity that he needed to pave way?
I do not have a problem. I do not have a problem to pave way so that at the end of the day, if SCB has evidence,
can you, Bishop, listen to this?
can
Can
you?
Okay, listen, Bishop,
Yes.
as someone who's representing UTM, in
Yes.
your integrity, could
Yes.
you tell your vice or your president, let's not do, this is now the president of the party, can you, in your integrity, representing the people that want integrity in UTM, tell him that it is important to step aside and pave way for a real investigation?
Now,
Can you, in your capacity?
okay, so are you going to give me time to answer without
I'm asking you that question. Can you do that?
I said justice has to be fair in the first place.
It's okay.
Now, it has to be fair. Everyone has to be treated in the same way, regardless of whoever it is. For as long as they're public officers, the treatment has to be the same. Now, at the end of the day, number two, this is what I'm saying. I'm not going to advise him to step down or to step away. Reason being,
why?
Where's the evidence? What did I do wrong? Now, let me put
Bishop, okay, so before you continue, you're asking where's the evidence? You're asking where's the evidence? From what we've heard. No, wait, Bishop, from what we've heard, the evidence is that his calls to Satar influenced some checks going through or some contracts awarded. Whether that has come, okay, you would say it's a hearsay. Wait, you are saying it's a hearsay. But Bishop, the president cannot put this man, cannot say to VP, I'm not gonna order you to do something if he didn't have the evidence. What are you trying to say?
That's what I'm saying. Okay, let me educate you a little bit, my friend from Karonga. If you go back to the speech of the president and listen to what the president said, then whatever you are saying now will not come out. The president said, when the SCB came to me and told me that the vice president is among the people that were involved in the corrupt practices, I asked them to bring me evidence as to how the vice president is involved. Now, he gave them 21 days. They came back after 21 days. The president says, even today, I'm still uninformed as to how the vice president was involved as I was 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
That's what the president
is that the statement he said? Charlo, do you agree to this? Wait. Charlo, do you agree to this statement that the president says there's no evidence for the victim? So why does he have to stop him from operating then? Charlo. No, wait. I'm asking Charlo. You've said that this is what the president said.
You are misquoting what I said.
No. You just said there was no real evidence for the VP. Please don't change that statement.
The president in his speech tackled on that issue of that there was not much evidence that was presented to him. But let's not forget
he's uninformed. That's what he said. He's uninformed.
Let's not forget that the president also had information from NCA. So his decision was based on a number of factors.
That's not true. That's not true. That's an assumption. We do
why
not
do
know.
you think, Bishop, why do you think it's an assumption?
Yes, I'm saying it's an assumption because we don't know if the president has the NCA report. We don't know that. What we know is that the president has the SCB report. And the SCB report was shared between three branches, the president, the judiciary, and the parliament. And we don't know anything else about the president having
Bishop
the
Chance, I agree with you. But you know what? This is where I wanted a neutral man in Kondwani, and for some reason he's not here today. Oh my goodness, Kondwani, you've let me down.
I would have wanted Kondwani to be here too because I had some questions for him as well. So
because I really want to make sure, because this is the guy who brought about the NCA report.
Exactly. How did he get it?
But to be honest, me, I wouldn't question the decision of the president in
this is what I'm trying to say.
Stopping the vice president from engaging in some operating that he was meant to be, because as we are saying, we are coming to a place whereby if your name is mentioned in corrupt activity,
then step down.
He has shown in the past. He's done that to Kezin Sukwa. He has done that to the chief of staff himself, Kapon Dankaka. Why is it that just because the vice president, he's made that decision on the vice president, then a lot of people are complaining? Come on,
I'm mad about this.
We are fighting corruption here.
My friends,
for the good of Malawi. If the vice president didn't do anything wrong, the investigation will find that he didn't do anything wrong, and it will even be good for himself, for his career, because he will be cleared from the whole thing. So I wonder why somebody would get angry because somebody has just been mentioned, and I think the president made a good decision.
Okay, so for me,
I don't think personally, let me respond to that. I don't think the president made a good decision, in my opinion. Number one, in my opinion, he called that report substandard. How can you make a decision on a substandard report? Number one. Number two, he said he's uninformed when it comes to how. Now, mind you, I'm not just talking about the vice president here. I'm talking about Prince as well. I'm talking about the PPAD chief as well. These three, I'm not just talking about SKC. I'm talking about the three of them. The president says he's uninformed of their involvement. Now, at the end of the day, now hold on. It is within his right, because these are people that are working under him, like the chief of staff, the PPAD. It is within his right to suspend or fire them. Nobody can question that. When it comes to
which he does, here it is, which he does, but then they refuse.
That's why I'm saying that. The problem that we have, and let me just break it down here. We have a reactionary president. We do not have a president who sees the future.
So we're leaving. Wait, Bishop, before you give me your judgment. So we're leaving the whole report out and just singling out that the president is just a reactionary.
Hold on. Here's my point. Let's look at the case of Kandodo. The case of Kandodo. What happened to the case of Kandodo? He fired Kandodo. Then he goes and apologizes for firing. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is simple. Before you make any decision, make sure that the decision you are making at that particular time will not come back biting you.
Okay.
Now, there are certain statements that the president has been making from the platform, which I believe, in my opinion, is just PR stunt to a certain extent, or just to convince certain people within the society maybe to stop talking. But the president has to do due diligence. Talk to the right people. Talk to his counsel. I don't know, those guys that are his advisors. Talk to them before making statements or before making decisions of certain sorts. Because these are the decisions that will come back and bite the government, come back, and at the end of the day, how much money has the government lost? Taxpayers' money on cases that people were implicated on, later to be found that those cases are not even there.
I think if this is going to be the way how we're going to approach our fight against corruption, I strongly believe then probably we're not going to head anywhere.
Are we really fighting corruption? If we had to ask that question, are we really fighting corruption at this pace?
The president would be giving himself so much time of due diligence of what Bishop Chunks is saying, I think it will slow everything down, because the decision making will be very slow. From my understanding is that the president gets information. He makes decisions based on the information that he gets. Some of the decisions might be challenged. Some of the decisions might be challenged. It's very obvious some of the decisions comes back to, as he confessed that time around, that he got the information and realized that, okay, the information that he got on Honorable Kandodo wasn't right. Let's not forget the approach, the kind of leadership that is Dr. Lazarus Chakwera. He's a servant leader. He listens to what people are saying. And then you are calling him reactionary because of that? No, Charlie, to me, I think
listening to people is a very good thing. But as a leader, you have to make a decision, and you have to make a decision that is balanced. A decision that is, it has to be a balanced decision. It has to be a decision that you have looked at all areas, and you come up with a decision that
you're telling me.
I think the decision that the president has made, the decisions that the president has made, has been really a very balanced decision.
No, you are being a cadet there,
on the vice president.
You are being a cadet there, you are being political there.
Bishop Shanks, Bishop Shanks. Let him finish.
Let's be honest. Only supporters of UTM thinks that decision is wrong. But to me, I think that is a bold statement to say he is really, the president is serious about ending corruption. He has sacked his chief of staff. He sacked the inspector general of police. And then you call that he's not serious about fighting corruption? What else should the president do?
In my opinion, he's not serious.
Honorable case in Sukwa. All these people, we ignore that. This is the thing that Peter Mutharika wouldn't have done. We forget that. But the president is doing it again and again. He's delivering on his promises of fighting corruption. The battle against corruption, every other time something is exposed, a decision is being made. People are making outcries. He listens to what the people are saying, and he sits down and makes a decision.
But where do those decisions end up to?
I think to be
where do those decisions end up to? Are they paying dividends.
We are still in the process. We're still in the process. We don't know what will happen to
because the reality, Bishop
because
Chance.
these people have been taken to court. Some of them have been taken to court. At the end of the day, it's going to be up to the judges to find them guilty or not. But we have to.
When will they go to court in the first place?
Doing.
In my opinion, I mean, we all have our own opinions. In my opinion, I don't see much happening apart from exposing corruption. But there is more that has to be done. And
because let's go back to this. Wait. Okay, Bishop, I get. If I want to let's be honest, Bishop Shanks, you're trying to defend the fact that probably there's no substantive evidence against the VP. Why does he then go on a platform where he wants to address a nation and he asks and says some immunity must be removed from the president? Meaning, I'm not the only one. If I was to interpret that myself, I'm not the only one, guys, who has to be investigated or who's corrupt. My friend as well is corrupt, but because he's got some immunity, please take that off him. Is that not accepting that he's wrong, but he also needs his friend to be also investigated?
Assumptions do work in mathematics. But
in what sense? This is not an assumption. I heard the VP saying.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Let me respond to you. You are assuming. Okay. Because you heard what he said, but you are assuming, you are interpreting and saying that.
So you tell us in your own words, what did he mean? What did he mean?
Listen to the speech of the VP.
I have.
He started with the issue, the investigation that the SCB and the SATA issue.
And he never dwelt much and stayed on that one.
Hold on. There was no reason for him to dwell much on it. Because
that's what people are expecting for him to say. We don't want you to tell us here it is not. Bishop, let me correct you. Because at the moment, people are expecting him to address that fact. Are you guilty or not? But he comes up and defends that. Why am I the only one being investigated? Why should my friend not be investigated? The question is, Mr. VP, are you guilty or not?
Chancey. You are putting words. Okay, then give me time without interrupting me.
Go ahead.
You are putting words in the mouth of the vice president. He did not say I'm not the only one who has done this. That did not come from this.
We are not kids, man. You're being political here. You are being political.
Okay, I'm
saying.
I think if I can jump in on this one,
no. If you want me to answer the question the way you
go ahead and answer. I'm telling you, don't correct mine, but just tell me, why did he not address the fact that are you guilty or not? Tell me that. Why did he not address it?
There was no need for him to address that issue.
Really?
It's an issue which is in court. In the first place, it's an issue which is in court. It is only unwise people that will comment on issues that are in court. Okay. You can easily put yourself in a mess. Whatever you say there, people will listen to it, and that can go against you in the court of law. Let me finish.
I think if that's
in that regard, he only said that these are issues that are being investigated. When the right time comes, we will respond and we will answer from our side. So
that's come on, guys. We know that's politics.
That's a wise way of answering.
That's politics. Boris Johnson, listen to me, Shanks. We're not kids. Boris Johnson, over here, he resigned over petty stuff, I would call it. His life, personal life, has been scrutinized in every way. Don't tell me, hang on. Don't tell me that we must be watching a vice president who then does not stand up to this statement where people are expecting, are you guilty? Did you do something stupid in this or not? Okay. And he comes out and says, I'm not the only one. Go and find my friend as well.
I agree with you, Pastor Chance, that a lot of Malawi.
We're not kids, man.
Of course, you have to agree with each other. But at the end of the day,
we're not agreeing with each other. But my statement, Chance.
Hold on. Boris is many Amapanga to meet Anapanga. That's my question. Whatever people were bringing against Boris, did he do it? Do it?
One thing I remember.
The statement from the VP was a letdown. If I can say, the statement from the VP was a letdown. A lot of Malawians expected that he's going to say something. He's going to say something about his accusations and his involvement in SATA case. But what the vice president did was to try to change the narrative, to drop in things that's gonna refocus people to something else, rather than changing the attention from himself to something else. And then he's bringing in about the immunity. We know presidents have got immunity. We know President Chakwera can be prosecuted when he ends his term in 2025. But yeah, the vice president, Malawians were expecting you to say something about your involvement in the SATA case. Of course, you have limitations because you say the involvement the investigations are still going on. But at least say something concrete where you involved. Is there anything
like
else?
what?
I think that was just a
in the talks. Okay, wait.
No. He's not before the court. He's not before the court for him to say stuff like that. What he made a statement, and in my opinion, that was the right statement, and anybody would appreciate that. Now, here's my point: why should Saulos come on the platform and say in a sinabeini? Do you know you MCP people? You would have turned around and said, "I was Pakira."
If that was the point, then the statement itself was not necessary. He could have just chosen to be quiet rather than
step
come
aside
to the nation and try to divert their attention to something else about immunity.
It doesn't matter. He said what he needed to say. You cannot tell him to keep quiet or not to keep quiet, but at the same time, you cannot dictate to him what he has to say or not to say, because he has to say things that he feels are important towards this case, important towards whatever it is that he's doing. But you cannot put somebody at a position where he has to speak things where you want him to speak. No,
Bishop, I'm on the side where when you look at that address, we were waiting for for him to really dwell on the fact that I'm stepping aside. I'm stepping aside.
Why should he step aside? That's admitting.
Because the president has said he's not going to assign him any duties. So let me give corrective investigations. So let me step aside. That's what I am not. Listen, Bishop. I'm not MCP. I love my president, but I'm not MCP, and I'm not lying. I'm saying it publicly. Okay. I love my president, but I'm not MCP. The reason is simple. I want to tell you it's simple. Because I want to support the government. And in this government, there is Chakwera, there's Chilima. If Chakwera is mentioned, I'll stand up one day and say the very same thing I'm telling you today. Because I don't back corruption. We have gone in with a message. Fine. That's where I'm standing at. If Chilima is clean, for me, I expected integrity of saying, guys, because we don't want to mingle with what SCB has said, I might as well step aside so these guys can have a clean investigation.
Okay, in the first place, why did you not
saying that? You're saying because the evidence.
You're talking about stepping aside. Chilima was already stepped aside. The president took away his duties. Right. He stepped aside. He took away his duties. Whether they talked about it or not, I do not know. But the president took away his duties. That's already stepping aside. Now, number two, he doesn't have the immunity that the president has. So if SCB wants to go and ask him questions or find out more about his involvement in this case, SCB has the right to do that. And some couple of weeks ago, SCB was supposed to go to his house and talk to him or ask him questions on this. Whether they went or not, I do not know. But one thing is for sure, they have every right to go and ask him.
On that
during all his speeches, and every time SKC has spoken, he has never denied SCB, or he has never denied the arm of justice.
Is it true though that at that point, listen, Bishop, at that point when they wanted to go to his house to talk to this guy, there were some blockages against these guys, against SCB.
That's what was reported, but I don't know if
Bishop, listen, the reports are valid sometimes. Don't just trash what people are saying. The reality is there was blockage for the SCB to go to his house. Why are you saying this is what is just being said?
Answer. Do you want me to say what there was blockage? You didn't say there was not going to be blockage. Do you want me to
You mean you don't know?
Yes, I have no
you're
idea.
just trying to be political?
I do not know. There's no need for me to be political.
Right, good. Fine, let's move on to the next one. So in your view, tell me in your own understanding, there was in his statement, in your view, in your own words, we discussed that we must remove immunity. Why do you have to bring it now? Why do we need it?
Yeah,
okay, he's gone. It's just you and me now because he had to go somewhere else. He's attending another meeting. In fact, I had to hold him longer than that. Now it's you for the next probably 15 minutes.
Okay.
No. He had another meeting. In fact, I held him. He should have gone at 10 to 9, but I held him on. So apologies to the viewers. It's Bishop Shanks giving us his mind about the whole report. And his vice president, not his vice, that's my vice, but his president. So go ahead. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is the issue of immunity.
Yeah.
That was
Why does it come up now?
That one was one of the campaign promises.
But Bishop, you're going too far. That was, yes, but why does it come up now?
No,
that was campaign. We're going too far. Why does it come up now? Tell me.
Chance in school.
I also went to school, my friend. I also went to school. You ain't shutting me down on this one. I need you to answer my question in this. We ask you to come up here, or why do you have to give us this report now?
Let me answer, my friend.
Yeah, go ahead.
Number one, that was a campaign promise.
Okay.
Whether he brought it at that time or he would have brought it from the very beginning, that's one of the campaign promises. And he spoke about it on the premise of curbing corruption, fighting against corruption. He said, corruption, then winner asatetezedwe. Winner alliance kuambira president, vice president, winner alliance should be subject.
Meaning to you and me that Chakwera is also corrupt.
That I do not know. I cannot agree with you.
How do you interpret it? I'm asking you, I want you to be as open with me here with the people. How do you interpret that statement? Forget about your political and your education self. How do you interpret that statement?
My interpretation of the statement is exactly the way he said it. In the first place, nobody, including the president, the vice president, and anybody else, everyone must be scrutinized in the same way.
Very true.
Nobody should be protected by immunity.
Is there a law? Wait, stay there. Is there a law that protects the president from being, investigated?
Yeah, there's a law that the president cannot.
Stay there. Stay there. Wait. Stay there. Don't go far. Don't go far. There is a law. Fine, we understand that. Why do you have to tell us now that take out the immunity now? Why?
Okay. That's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying to you. That in the first place, in a CGDMI, I'm just responding to you on the basis
of your mind.
Yes. So that I don't like to speak for people. I mean, yes. So all I'm saying is, corruption. It was one of the three key points of his speech. The first one was on corruption, then on the agreement, then the other one was on the economy. Now, on the corruption aspect, he said, if we are serious about corruption, dealing with corruption in Malawi, then nobody should be protected. Okay. I should not be protected. The president should not be protected. So that was one of the campaign promises. Whether President Chakwera is involved or not, that's not up to me to decide. That's up to the SCB and the courts to decide. That is up to them. And it is also up to SCB to bring evidence. Plausible evidence, just like SCB, my friend Pastor Chance, SCB pa report Jena Trukaija, inanena how the IG was involved. There were specific
according to Beulah, listen to this, Bishop. Wait. According to Beulah, who's one of my panelists, most of the time, she goes like this: SCB said the VP acted corruptly. Here it is, and there was a mention of a telephone conversations. Exactly what I was talking about, right? There was nothing. Wait. There was nothing else furnished to the president, and the president made the decisions based on the report. what I'm trying to say is there was evidence. And as much as we can say all sorts that, they got to bring evidence and all that, fine, I get that. But Shanks, VP, Vice President Chidima is my president too. And people can say all they want to say, oh, this guy loves Chakwera. No, listen, guys, the day Chakwera is involved in corruption, I will turn my back on him. Why? Because you promised people to deliver Malawi out of corruption. And I will not stand up and clap for a leader who is not accounting to that kind of a statement. And this is where I have a problem, that if you are Chilima and you know that your position is going to deter the SCB to show up at your house because you are guarded heavily, or even some party zealots will come outside and force the SCB out of the way, then we have a problem. And Malawi will not change for as long as these people are in power. If Chakwera is corrupt as Chidima, then there will be no change. Guys, listen to this. We might as well forget about Malawi being kupulidwa pamoto. Malawi is being looted then. And for as long as we can clap for these leaders, I guarantee you we are going nowhere. Over to you, Bishop. But I'm just trying to tell the people, because some people are saying, Mwana wa Chakwera. You can say all you want. I'm Mwana wa Chidima at the same time. My fathers have to be responsible. It's that simple. If you're going to come up here and defend them for the stuff that they actually did, no, man. No. Yeah, go ahead.
Chimene ndikunena zonsezi ine ndiyankhula nchijiwa kuti mumve bwino. Chimene ndikunena zonsezi nchonena kuti I'm not defending Chilima. Chilima ngati anaba ndiye pali evidence yokuti waba. Okay? I cannot stand and say ndimbagera Chilima pamene munthu waba and there is evidence sugar ali kukamwa koseko. There is no way I can say I'm standing, I'm standing in defense of this man. That's number one. Number two, we live in a society. Remember this, and don't you dare to forget this. Because the problem even now is we trust politicians. Politicians should never be trusted. I don't care who.
Chance we're Christians.
In the first place,
and we're learning.
Wait, let me finish.
Okay, go ahead. We shouldn't trust politicians.
Yes, politics, chance, politics. Politics, many makalila chance. Tikoza kumenya na mitu ifepa nobo, but we don't know what's going on the.
And that's where I stand at the same time. That's where I stand as well.
Here's my point.
And that's where I'm not going to put him in my pocket when he does something stupid. I'll say it.
Here's my point. Here's my point. We live in a society where people can politicize a matter or come up with a story just because they want to destroy somebody. You are from Malawi. I'm from Malawi. And I love to tell my own stories.
Yeah.
Somebody came up with a story with Shanks wabereka mimba. Ine mimba sinabereke bodu chibadwile. But somebody would say with Shanks wabereka mimba, and somebody would believe that story, run with that story without verifying, without having proper evidence on that issue. But our society, let me tell you, the society in which we live thrives and believes in lies. Right. And they run with lies. They run with lies so fast, and when they speak them, it is as if it is on his own. Right. So all I'm saying is, what we need to avoid my situation, bring evidence. Babachani, an evidence. An evidence. An evidence. Now, SCB, there are two things that are involved when it comes to SCB. If really SCB is independent, if SCB has not been captured by the state, and the SCB is really independent, then SCB, what would have happened is this chance, in my opinion, after President Adankra's speech, SCB needed to come the next day or 2 days later with their own press briefing. Talk to Malawians. Tapereka kwa president report and the isn't chitika. Let the people ask SCB questions. But SCB si kubwera kuguru kunena nkhani za SATA zibwino. Until today, SCB on the issues of SATA, even pankani ya SATA, SCB si kuonika kuti stand yake nditi kweni. Si kuonika.
So in other words, you think somehow it's captured by the state?
In my opinion, it's either SCB has.
My opinions on on the vice president. My opinion, it's based on what you're seeing. So let that. I wanted just to prove you that one, because when I did not. Listen to this. Wait. Let Bishop. You know what? You and me, we're gonna stay here long enough, but then we're coming back. Okay, so here it is. Let me go back to the people. So, for those of you that are watching, and I know you can see our passions, you're gonna be offended, but we love each other. The truth of the matter is that we gotta correct our understanding. You know, I'm passionate for Malawi to come out of corruption as much as he is passionate, and we're gonna have to correct each other. So, we will have to end this. Bishop, listen, tell the people. You know, I'm gonna have to let you go. I don't want you to say a word or two because I do know that. But in your summarize it, you know, for the people, and we have to go out of
No, Pastor Chance, to be honest, I know you're passionate about Malawi. I'm passionate about Malawi. I know I'm an SKC supporter. You know,
Amen.
and I don't hide that. But the truth of the matter is, if we are to curb and defeat the spirit of corruption, it has to be a collective effort. Okay? That's number one. Number two, we have to be fair. Justice has to be fair.
And our fairness is that the VP has to be accountable and step down.
The VP has to be accountable. The president has to be accountable. All the ministers have to be accountable. Everyone has to be accountable, not just the VP. Okay?
No, everybody.
When it comes to issues that are under investigation, in my opinion, it is better to come to the public when you have proper evidence. Otherwise, if you come to the public and there's no proper evidence, just a mention of a name, that will bring divided opinions. People will say whatever they want to say, and people would think, I'll give an example maybe to make you happy and also to make you understand what I'm saying. Nkhani yokuti munthu angobwera ndikupereka kuti achilima. Aba, for example, achilima aba chani palibe amene akunenapo kanthu. Now, at the end of the day, the supporters of UTM will say this is propaganda. But if they come into the public and say Ajirimaba chakut, there is evidence here, that becomes difficult to refute. In the case of Amkaka he's my friend. You know, I talk to him, I conversate with him. But in his particular case, there is evidence. The chassis number, the registration number of the cars, and evidence is there. Now, you stand there and you defend such a person, then so all I'm saying is, to avoid divided opinions, it is important to come to the public with evidence ngati munthu ali involved mu chinthu china chache. Number three, I love Achakwera, and I want everybody to know this. The fact that I said a president he's a reactionary president, I don't say that in a disrespectful way. As much as I know some people would think I'm being disrespectful. I love the man. I love him as a pastor. He's a great preacher, but as a great leader, as a leader of a country, he still has miles to take.
He has miles to there's stuff he needs to learn. Let's be honest.
There are miles that he has to take, and I know it's his first time, maybe or not maybe it's his first time to be in that position, and I know maybe he's learning some stuff from the job. But all I'm saying is, as a leader, he's the captain of the ship. He's the one who has to steer the ship. Shanks will have his opinion. Chance will have his opinion. But he, as a leader, he has to make a decision. You are a church leader, Pastor Chance, and a powerful preacher as well. And I respect that, you know that. Now, as a leader who has a church, people can give you opinions. People can tell you, Abu says. But as a leader, you are the one who has the vision for the church. You are the one who has to lead the church to a place. So the reason why he is the leader, he has the vision for Malawi, and he spelled that vision in his super high five. Now, in that super high five, we want him to follow to the T whatever he told us he would do. Number one, he said he will remove immunity. That has to happen. He doesn't have to give excuses. He said he will focus on servant leadership. That has to happen. We are not expecting anything less. The reason why people are talking a lot, Pastor Chance, it is simply because Achakwera ananena zintu zambiri and zambiri mwa hizo sisi kujitika. That's why people are talking. People are dissatisfied. Let's be honest. Do I want him to do well for the next 3 years that are remaining? Is it 2 or 3 years? Do I want him to do well? Yes, I do. Because his success is the success of my country. If he does well, my country does well. I wish him all the best. But here is my advice to our president. Please, make sure you do and follow what you promised Malawians. Number one. Number two, if anybody within your team is not following through your vision, it doesn't matter who they are. Don't carry goats. Carry sheep with you. Goats makes a lot of noise. Carry sheep in your boat. Let every goat out of your boat. Because at the end of the day,
including the VP, if he's a goat, get him out.
Maybe he himself is a goat too. Who knows? But at the end of the day, we must look at both sides of the story and ensure that at the end of the day, he carries the sheep and takes the sheep to bay. That's all I'm saying. That's all.
Man. Listen, you're my man. You know what? We're leaving a legacy, and the truth of the matter is that let's preach Jesus. Let's at the same time educate the masses, but at the same time let's debate on the real issues that will affect our nation. And Bishop Shanks, I have much respect for you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to continue this next week with you. In fact, I want to bring in a justice man. I hope we can have this man this time live. Last time we did try to bring him on, Dr. Dunstan Mongulu. The network was an issue. He lives down south, and network was an issue. Hopefully, we can have him next time we talk about this, so that we, from his perception as the man who's been at the top in terms of judgments and stuff, he can give us some clarification. But listen, I like doing life with you. God bless you, Bishop. Have a good night. Let's sign out.
And Tiangrane ukamaliza ndikulembera text. Check your WhatsApp. Check your WhatsApp. I'll send you a text. Yeah. All right.
Okay, cool. Right, that's how we finish right here. This is your host speech. Chance, but I'm even about to say Bishop Janks. But listen, we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Come back again next week. We're back here next week with these two, and hopefully I will have my friend and brother Kondwani Belmontali next week. And then we can also have Mr. Dunstan Mongulu, just to have a bit of more justice and information about the stories that are happening. Probably can shed light and we can have an understanding. We are passionate, you can tell. And guys, let me be honest with you. I am not standing for one party. I am standing for my nation, Malawi. Malawi comes first. No party comes above it. No leader is above Malawi. And this is why we make noise. I guarantee you, and I'm going to say it again, for those of you that think that I am a Chakwera bootlicker, I'm not at all. I say it publicly. The day Chakwera does not stick to the high five agenda, the day that he moves away from the from rooting out corruption, he's not my friend. I stand by these words. I'm here to make sure that we debate and make sure we enforce the words that have been spoken out. Thank you so much for coming on tonight. Listen, tonight has been awesome. Let's meet again next week, Monday, 8 p.m. next week, hopefully with 2 more guests. God bless you. Have a good evening.